All right, looks like the video has engaged. The audio seems to work. I don't hear a speck of DX. It tried to come in earlier. All right, looks like the video has engaged. We got the infamous loop. Hold on. I don't hear a speck of DX.
That was a cool
It tried to
echo.
come in earlier. All right, looks like the video has engaged. We got... All right, the loop is gone. At least I know how to fix that.
I don't have to fix mine. It's kind of built in that way.
It's the way I do my audio check. It actually sounded pretty good. At 8:03, calibrated, you were listening earlier, calibrated WWV, so we should be on their time, maybe not on time. The old Tube Radio Network here in Central California. 27085 is the RF. You're trying to tune us in and you're out of the area, try channel 11. Maybe conditions will happen tonight. Otherwise, if you are in the area, you're listening at 27085 or maybe at oldtuberadio.net, where the audio is always good, regardless of the mishaps that may happen here in the studio. The Old Tube Radio Network, we've been doing this for well over 30 years. And we hope you can join us tonight with your vintage Tube Radio, when after the roll call we start accepting check-ins from our radio collectors. Maybe you have a collection of one. Maybe you have a collection of 101. It doesn't matter. We would definitely like to hear from you.
Somebody's playing.
Starting with the roll call, let's get it going here so we can get some radios checked in. As you can see, the video's up. It is still very bright and sunny here in Central California at 8 o'clock, even though we're on the downside. I guess the days are getting shorter, but we'll have plenty of time to check in some radios. If I can find my SWL list, we will start with 00. And Bill checked in earlier, said they're listening from Cheyenne, where he said it is very rainy. Lots of rain in Cheyenne. So I hope, Bill, you have found your umbrella and are ready to go. I'm going to switch the camera. I'm going to switch the video over to the S. Give yourself a radio check as you check in. 0 is in. SWL number 1 is in. SWL 2, that would be Mr. OBP. One of the guys who started this whole thing ever so long ago. He often hangs out on the video side, which you can click on at oldtuberadio.net, or maybe you're already there at YouTube. I see TJ is there. Hello to you. And New York listening in. Smarty Jones saying good evening to all. I'll keep an eye out for Kevin. SWL 3.
Interject for a minute.
I've got a note to proxy check in Mr. Rob. He might stop by tonight. How about SWL 4? SWL 5? Shortwave listener number 6? SWL 7?
SWL 7, checking in.
Still sounding good. Mr. Ed there, who helped me on the tune-up channel earlier. I think everything's still kind of okay. Thanks for checking in. SWL, where do we jump to? 11 and 12, Jim and Lisa checked in via email. SWL 13. Mike sometimes checks in at the Facebook page. We have an Old Tube Radio Facebook page. You can leave a check-in there, or better yet, if you have Facebook, just write us a note up on the big board here at oldtuberadio.net, and when I click the right buttons, I will see your post and get you checked in. SWL 14. SWL 15. SWL 15. Sounds like you're in the mobile tonight. I hear you from the big town of Easton. Thanks for listening. And good morning to Wayne, early Sunday morning, where he is at, in beautiful Nottingham City, or thereabouts. Thank you, Friar Tuck, for waving a hand. Haven't I don't know if I saw you there last week or not, but it's good to have you back. The Old Tube Radio Network doing what we do best, or at least we're going to try to get some radios checked in tonight. SWL 16, SWL 17, shortwave listener 18, SWL 19, SWL 20.
Number 20 here. Check me in, please. And check in number 29, number 54, Larry and Madera. And if you would check in also number 84, Jerry, and all his girls, please. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get them all at the appropriate time. Good to have you in the air chair tonight. Hopefully your weather conditions over there will permit you to hang out in the shack with us a little bit. Because it's always good when SWL 20 is out there to answer our queries on what the heck does this thing do. Thanks for checking in. SWL 21. I am checking. I think I need the big ground rod. I was doing some plugging and unplugging of things that were not related to any way to the radio, and I was hearing things happening, which leads me to believe that my grounding is not all that great. But Mr. JT, Mr. SWL 21 says he's got the ground rod contained, and he would like to get checked in before before the sparks start flying. All right, sir, Mr. JT, DD21, we've got you checked in tonight here on the Gold Tube Radio Network. SWL 22, SWL 23, SWL 24, shortwave listener 25.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in, and just in case you might want to go ahead and check in. So, anyway, you sounded good tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Likewise, sounds like you might be hanging out in the radio shack a little bit tonight. So if so, we'll look forward to entering you on the Old Tube Radio list as well. Thanks. A reminder, I do not have the crossband radio up. So if anybody is possibly listening on the simplex frequency and can relay to me if someone pops by there, I would appreciate that. Over to page 2 for playing the home game, looking for SWL 27. We have a proxy check in for SWL 29. Then we go to SWL 31. Let me check. I haven't even said hello. I haven't said hello to our listeners over at oldtuberadio.net. Let me do that right now. Hello to Fresno Fish Camp, New York, right in the front row. X4000, we will get to you. Hello to Larry. Our Colorado station listening in for the beacon, the 11-meter beacon here on 27085. I don't know what kind of conditions we're going to have tonight. Somerville, South Carolina. Of course, coming up to Fayetteville, North Carolina in a little bit. Dallas, Georgia as well. Hello to Washington, Auberry, Hendersonville, Tennessee. That's the station I'm looking for here. I'll put an X in the square for Robert and Teresa. Hope all is going well over there. Hello, Maryland, Kentucky. You've got Marina, California. That's a new one. Hello, Reedley. New York. Need to SWL 3880, 85. Where's all the big iron tonight? They're hanging out here on 11 meters. And hello to Oregon. I don't know if we're going to get the short skip tonight or not. So those are our stations currently listening in at oldtuberadio.net. Over to SWL 32. SWL 33 is myself, Bozo Control, the Honking Proboscis. The Jingle Singers are here. I will probably head over to that studio at the end of the roll call. We'll hear from the Jingle Singers. Aberdeen is on the list. That's probably, I wonder if that's Wayne. or he shows up, but we've got a station from the UK on the list. Over to SWL 34. SWL 35 checked in as 00, and we'll get a rainy Mr. Bill also checked in here at the SWL side. SWL 36, SWL 37, SWL 38, shortwave listener 39, SWL 40. He's probably hiding. It's getting close to the 4th of July, and there are all sorts of incendiary devices going off around Fresno and them their parts. I think he was having some some mice issues, so we'll get a report before he gets out here. SWL 41. I hope he wasn't having the dreaded mouse coax chew. SWL 42. SWL 43. SWL 44. 44 sounding good. I don't know if you are true horizontal or not, but you come in just over the noise. So whatever you have for a radiating elemental device, it's just enough to make it into my very low Starduster antenna. Good to have you along, and hope you are keeping safe and sane on your outing here to the west. Then we go up to SWL 45.
The sound great as always, Dennis. 45.
Well, thanks, Paul. It's always good to have stations with great old tube radio receivers to pick up the likes of me. Thanks for checking in. Also want to say hi over on the oldtuberadio.net page to Albert up there in Squamish, British Columbia. The 256 mechanic and 428. Listening in tonight, hoping for some conditions other than the digital ones. Maybe we will check in some of your favorite radios tonight. Fred got you okay over the air. And the Bob and Steve Show from Ohio, sending a case of wine to the Jingle Singers from the Fresno State Winery. They actually have, I'm not a real wine person, but it's better than the Trader Joe's. I'm sure it's better than the Trader Joe's $2 Chuck. And inviting everyone to join them in the green room after the show. They might have went by the little farmer's market they have out there on Chestnut Avenue, just south of Barstow, and you'll have some other goodies as well. Bob and Steve keeping us always in good supply. So if you can't make the on-the-air show, come on over to the studios and whoop it up with the Jingle Singers. Thanks, guys. SWL 47. The sun is still up. It's 85 degrees. Where else would you be? Sitting in your radio room? You'd be pretty diehard fan of OTR to be doing that right now. So I understand if we have a lot of late check-ins, but that's okay. SWL 48. SWL 49. All right, appreciate you checking. Good to hear your voice. The audio is a little weak. I don't know what you're running, but I hear you, and we'll get you checked in from beautiful Midtown Fresno, the computer man back in town with us. That's always a good thing. Let's try SWL 50.
And yes, he would be here also. Okay, good evening, everybody.
Also, as well, to even Roger Wilco, SWO50, Mr. Mark, checking in. We are halfway through this 8-week roster for the 29th day of June 2019. Realize when we started this, it was back in 1985 and 1986. And a lot of these radios that are checking in tonight, I think I would consider them new 30 years ago. Now they are really, really old tube radios. Thanks for checking in. Over to where are we going? 305. Hello, Dave, SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in.
Looking good and sounding good. Thanks for waving a hand. SWL 52. SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
Sounding good doing it. Thanks, Bob. We've got you checked in here on OTR tonight. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
A reminder that we do talk with, listen for those vintage tube radios from 1958 to 1978, Class D. I guess we'll take the non-Class D if you got them. Get it up on 11 meters. And it's got those glowing tubes. We'll check it in. That's coming up after the roll call here in about 15 minutes, so stay tuned for that. I've got a check-in for Mr. Boardjammer 54, which I will get, and then ask for SWL 55. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis from the net. 56, just for kicks.
Just for kicks sounding good, and I enjoyed the video. I don't know if it was a retro video that showed up or it was something new. It's kind of fascinating with the, I would call it steampunk, but I don't know what it is. It's just the alternate universe. That alternate peek through the keyhole universe of SWL 56. I always get a kick out of that. Thanks for checking in. Who is next? Let's try SWL 58. SWL 59. And the question is, what radio is on the radio table tonight? With the microphonium connected. SWL 60.
Thanks, Dennis. Doggone it, we'll say evening time to all the fellas out there. And we spoke with Ken yesterday. He's settled in his house. And doggone it, sends his regards to everybody out there. He misses all of you. Let's check in this evening, a semi-vintage. One of these days she'll be vintage. The DX2527.
Yeah, I think it's in the vintage category. We are, in 2019, I think just about any 23-channel radio, whether it's solid state or tubes, would be apropos for checking in. The DX2527, of course, always welcome here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you, Joe. Got you checked in.
Thanks, Dennis.
And Wayne saying it's too warm to sleep in Nottingham Forest. In fact, I think there was a discussion going on before the net about the wacko weather. Whether it's cooler than it should be, which it is here, in the central part of California, or it's way more than it should be, like over there where Wayne is. Or raining in Cheyenne. So, wherever your Radio Shack is, I hope the weather is permitting for you to join us tonight and get a radio on the air, or maybe just listen in via shortwave listening. SWL 61.
51, checking in, Dennis.
Right on time and on frequency. I'm stealing the thunder from our next check-in, but I just had to say that. Thanks for checking in, Dean.
Thank you, sir.
Now we'll go to on time and on frequency. SWL 62.
Good time, Dennis. This is 62 checking in. Downtown Clovis.
Downtown Clovis, where there's always something good happening. Not sure what's happening on the 29th of June, but you are in the Radio Shack talking to us, and that's a good thing. Lucky Lindy, as always, sounding good on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 63. That's Bubba out of New York, and waving a hand for all the New York stations that are listening in tonight. From West ISLIP, Islip. Who else is still out there? Angola, who's been tuning in for a long time. Those big iron stations out in New York. Let's try SWL 64.
Well, I made it this time.
You did. I am putting the X in the square. And OEJ, Jack, you are checked in.
Don't forget that's from Atwater.
Are you beaconing from Castle Air Force Base?
Yeah.
Well, that is actually, if you've got the big 8-element Moonraker or Lightning 6 or whatever, I know the guys used to talk to some stations up in Atwater. There is a 10-meter beacon on 28,300 that's up at Tracy at about 3,000 feet. And you can sometimes hear it in the Central Valley here. That's how I check to see if the short hop ground wave propagation is going, because it comes and goes throughout the day. So give that a try, 28,300, the CW beacon from Tracy. That'll let you know if you're going to be able to make the trip to Atwater. Thank you, Jack. Over to SWL 65. SWL 66.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead, please, over.
Yeah, can I proxy 65 and 55? Thank you.
6-5. We will get Eric checked in. Let me back up one and click the button. There we go. Called 66. SWL 67. SWL 68.
Can you subtract 30 off that 67?
That would be 64.
Yeah.
I think we did 64. How about if I, let's see, let's take off 3 times 10. SWL 37.
Oh, SWL 37 checking in. Thank you.
And thank you. Probably jumped in. You noticed what? It's deceiving because there's still sunlight coming through the window, right? You get busy doing stuff, and you realize it should be time for OTR. You look and think, yeah, it's definitely time for OTR. Thanks, Chris. Page 3, is that where we're at? Yeah, we're on page 3, if I get back there. For the roll call. The tube radios will be coming up after the roll call shortly. We got to check in for 69. That's Kenny had a report that he is getting settled in and doing A-OK. So let's get Kenny checked in if you're listening at oldtuberadio.net. Hello, Ken. Next, we've got SWL 70. SWL 71 would be, let me refresh the list here. And Stan Indeed is checking in from Dallas, Georgia. We did pretty good. We got, was it 2 Pierce Simpsons last week? Not sure what we're going to get this week. Stay tuned. SWL 72. SWL 73. Shortwave listener 74. I've got to check in for Miss Jilly. Miss Jay was good to hear her last week on the 50,000 watt radio station. SWL 75. SWL 77.
77 on the Tower of Power in the Tower District. Checking in and waving a hand to all the listeners. 73s.
Looking good, pushing 20 over here, or almost 20 over. Got the S meter up on the video side. Thank you for checking in. Takes us to SWL 79.
79, check it in.
He's got it fired up. He's got 2 plugs. He's got a radio that's got 2 plugs in it. When he's got them both plugged in, it sounds that way. Thank you, Mr. DC. He's working on the one that's got 3 plugs. I don't know what I'm going to do when he finds that one. SWL 80. We'll head over to page 4. SWL 81 and on cue. Over there on the video side. Hello, Steve Areno. Let me get you punched in officially. And he is checking in from a distance. He is not quite in the coiled cord microphonium, but he's got the digital radio going in the long distance mode and said it's good to hear us. And that's pretty cool, huh? You can hear what's going on here in Central California from your mystery location, or maybe not such a mystery. And then you remember the time change too. So good all around. I should give you 2 checks. I'll give you a big X for the extra effort. Thanks for listening in, and if you can stay up late, hopefully we'll get some radio check-ins going on. Also, waving a hand, the Brian, the mighty KUH. I hope things are going okay in the Radio Shack this week, tonight. No wackiness. Getting things put back together. At least you've got the digital side going. Thanks for listening in. Over to SWL 82. We've got a check-in for SWL 84, and we'll get all the ladies in the appropriate time. Let's try Reedleytown, SWL 85. I haven't heard anybody from Reedley tonight. They're having some static problems last week. SWL 86, 87, and 88. The fine ladies here, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and Snowy Owl, all checked in. Over to SWL 89, SWL 90. We'll try Madera Town, SWL 92. I think I'm getting RF into the laptop here. The mouse is doing bad things. So tonight it appears to be computer problems. What else could go wrong? Where are we going? We are looking for SWL, I think we called 92. SWL 93. Shortwave listener 98. Sounding good as always, Fresno Dave. What's your number? 544. I guess you're still in the 544 area code. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Let me give a shout out to Jeff, who is in the process of installing a very cool radio in his mobile unit. I'm not sure if he got the antenna up or not. How about Cheesy Easy 103? I'll hope to hear from him soon, because I know he is going to be radio active. SWL 109. SWL 110. SWL 111. SWL 114. Shortwave listener 128. The mouse is not working. Let me refresh and see if, did we make it work? No, we didn't. See if anybody is new. Oh, there's 111. Hello, 111. He's been busy with doing stuff in the heat and getting up early. Yeah, that happens. So, Robert, you are checked in. Thanks for tuning in. We've got you. We didn't get 114. We didn't see 128. Or I didn't see 128. Let me check on that. In the meantime, let's look for SWL 131.
131 from Old Town Clovis checking in.
Well, sounded good from Old Town Clovis tonight. It's our second station from downtown Old Town. We got you checked in. Over.
All right, Dennis.
Just checking my list to see who is out there. It's making it difficult. I have to use a little mouse pad thing. It's kind of a pain. We are looking for SWL 131. And 133 we got.
Name Dennis, 133's checking in.
All right, we got John. We got in Clovis. We got Dave out there in Northwest Fresno. Thank you, sir. Sounding good on the wire antenna. Pointed this way. Let's try SWL 135. SWL 137. SWL 145. And over to SWL 147. Neil is out there listening at oldtuberadio.net. Said the skip dropped out about 10, but it's back now. Deep South is in there. It's just quiet, as you can hear. I think I heard somebody call for the mini grass about 2 hours ago. 38 lower sideband still humming. That's the band. That's the channel frequency here. The bands are open. You can go up to all the guys and gals up on 38 lower keep the Central Valley on the map here. And Dr. Jazz and the Carolina Sandhills saying 73 to all the old tube radio stations tonight. Thank you, Neil, for checking in. Let's try SWL 195 up in Coarse Gold. I think that was you. Tried again. I heard Kerry, but no audio. All right, no problem that time. Sounded good, Jim. We've got the check-in where it's supposed to go. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir.
SWL 226. Any stations that would like to check in or somebody I missed, OTR listening. Tube radios are coming up. Give me a chance to run around the shack here and make sure all the wires are correct, make sure Studio B is ready. The jingle singers are... It's that wine thing. Bob and Steve got the good wine tonight. So I don't know if anybody's going to want to do anything, but hopefully we'll get them to do a jingle or two for us tonight. Hello to Iowa John, Mighty Juliet Whiskey, who is listening in on the video side, and Brian is playing with the old Kenwood 820. One of those radios that could probably check in here, although I don't think the 820 and 830, I don't think those are hybrid rigs. Can't remember if they use a 6146 or not. I've got the Yaesu equivalent. That's the FT102. Came out about the same time as the 820 did. But nice radios, good receiver, nice transmitter with the hybrid solid-state transmitter and the tube receiver. And he's on the locals with doing some 10-meter local stuff. I wish we had more of that here. We used to have a long time ago. Nice little local 10-meter group. We've got enough new hams that we should start that. What would be a good frequency? 28.385? That wouldn't be bad. You have to do something like that. That way, when the band starts opening up, all those stations that are out in 10 meters would be talking to us. All right, tube radios are coming up next. I will be back in a minute or two, checking everything, and OTR will be looking for your tube radios. If I didn't mention it before, you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
The station for you, OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network. Here we are, ready to check in your tube radios from your collection, perhaps from as early as 1958, with those one-channel, 7-tube microphone wired-in radios, to the 40-channel big-time stations with sideband and everything else that stopped around 1977 or 1978 for some unknown reason, but thanks to you and the Old Tube Radio Network, hopefully we will be hearing them on the air tonight, as they should be. OTR is standing by, looking for radio number 1.
485.
Hello, Paul. I'm just shuffling my paperwork here so I can be ready to get you properly checked in. Everything seems to be fairly ship-shape in the studio here tonight, so hope you can hear me. We'll back up to you and tell us what you're sitting in front of tonight there on the Radio Shack.
Okay. This is my Brownie Golden Eagle Mark III AM SSB radio.
Browning Laboratories. I want to say it's one of the rare ones. I don't know production numbers on the difference between the AM Mark IIIs and the sideband Mark IIIs. If we were to take them by the amount of check-ins, the AMs would be kind of rare, although I think they were about $200 less in price. What I'm going to do is see if we can get... I've got an ad for the AM, and they're... basically is the big difference, of course, is just the transmitter. It's a little bit smaller. But we'll go to you. Take a transmission. You've got it fired up. It looks good. If we could see it, I'm sure it looks good. It sounds good. Over to you. Thanks.
Yeah, these things, you can't hardly mess them up, I'll tell you. They're just a beautiful radio. What I really like about this is the Brownie 776 microphone made by Turner, and it's made for Brownie. This is power from the radio, not from batteries. There's no control on the front, so you turn it up and down. It's set that way from the factory, and it's just a. I like the soft microphone on the thing. No power and nothing. Other than that, as you know, this thing is a big radio, 2-piece set, 31 inches long, and it's got 20 tubes in the thing total of the 2 pieces. Just a super quality radio. This is one of the last ones they had that had all tubes in it. And after this one, they went to the Mark IV with hybrid type thing, which I like this a lot better. That's about it. Thanks, Dennis.
One of the best receivers I'll still never forget on my 100 milliwatt walkie-talkie. And some guy this was probably 1970. I had built a little antenna, external antenna, clip-leaded on. And there was one guy that could hear me, and he was running a Browning. It was probably the Mark II at that time, or the R68, T68. It was one of the only stations. There wasn't anybody close to me that could hear me, and he was running the Browning. That receiver was bar none the best. I mean, here, 100 milliwatt walkie-talkie that's a mile and a half, might even been 2 miles away. I don't know how he did it, but he was always able to pull me out some of the times. Nice looking radio. Let me see. I think I've got if I don't knock over the microphone here, a price point on that. $495. The sideband unit was $695. I think it was $200 more. So in 1972, if you wanted to get into the Browning, if you want to step up to Browning, this is probably the way to go. And at that time in 72, channel 16 wasn't 23 channels yet officially. And officially channel 16 was the sideband channel. And you would have had to buy VFOs and all sorts of things to get up above 23 and then worry about the FCC. So a good way to do it. I don't go away. Take another transmission because I really like how the audio sounds on that. It's done, like you said, it's done perfectly. I want to hear it one more time, and what I'll do is I'll switch over to the S meter as well. So if you're watching the video, you can give yourself a radio check. Thanks for getting us started off with radio number 1, and we'll go back to you for the transmission on the Browning 3 a.m.
Oh, that's a sideband, not an AM. I know what you mean, though. Anyway, no, this thing is it's got, like I said, that microphone, that 776 mic. You can't do anything with it but just talking to it. It takes it from there. Real interesting. That's one of the best things I like about this thing, is where it's set up like that. This Brownie did a good job, like they always do. Again, thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
Thanks for bringing it by. OTR will be standing by, doing what we do best, and that's listening for your radio check. Give us a little more smoke on the receive here. It's actually quiet out there tonight now. I know a lot of people are out vacationing, doing fun stuff, even just driving around the city. Past couple days and this weekend, the traffic is definitely a little bit less than it should be. Hearing a couple of fireworks displays breaking through the noise gate here, and we are waiting for radio number 2.
Contact.
And hello to Northeast Georgia Butterbean watching us on the video screen, and a contact that should require me to pick up the SWL roll call sheet, which I will do. The contact, go ahead, over.
Thanks, Dennis. 70 requesting a late check-in, please.
We'll do that. The Morgan Canyon Magician, Mark, is on the line with us, and I will go to the page and get everything checked in. I hope everything is going fine up that way, and you are not in any fire danger from the Safe and Sane fireworks approaching this week.
Well, let's hope not. There's a lot of stupid people. I hope not, man. We'll see, but yeah, we'll just kind of have to keep an eye out, I guess.
I remember hearing a lot of activity around here, and occasionally at night you see the really huge one with the mortars firing up and the big displays in the sky, and I'm thinking, wow, I don't know where you get those, but there's a lot of people ready to celebrate. Thanks for checking in. The Old Tube Radio Network, you know, it is that time. You have inspired me to tap on the glass and get the attention of the jingle singers and everything that's going on in the other studio. Big party tonight. They're celebrating with some Fresno State wine. So it's hard to get them up to the ribbon microphones. But here we go. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Looking for radio number 2. And I do believe we might have radio number 2. Hello, Paul, over.
Yeah, kind of a slow night switching off. We'll probably pick up later on, hopefully. Anyway, I want to check in my general radio telephone, MC-7.
That's a rare one. Probably one of the 7s and the 8s. Don't get to hear too many of those. Let me find a picture. I'm going to try and switch the video over while I'm talking because it makes this big audio glitch on the playback, and I hate to do that while the radio that's checking in is on. I see the VS7. Let's see. Do I have an MC7? Yes, I do. What shall I do? I'm going to click into the ad first. So if you're watching at oldtuberadio.net, you can kind of read the advertisement as we take the check in here. Go ahead, Paul. Over.
Yeah, that's a nice picture. That's exactly. Doesn't show the microphone on the thing, but that's the same radio. Rather plain in the front. Very simple, plain, nice looking. This one had the turn on the thing. The first year it came out with that, which was part of the improvement on the thing. So that's the basis of the controls on the thing, like anything else. But this has a carbon microphone. And according to the manufacturer's generated telephone, they say that's the only microphone that can run on the thing. That's a carbon mic. Well, really, I like the carbon mic just as well as any of them, if it works. And these guys do work, I do believe. Am I right? Back to you.
It's working good. Doesn't have a lot of high frequency tones to it, so it's not as punchy as it could be. I'm just thinking, is the MC7 their first 23 or actually 24 channel radio? I can't remember if the MC6 had the 24 channels in it. It's still $199. That was the thing about the Generals. The price point was always between $159 and $199. 1965, when this came out, the 24th channel, the Civil Air Patrol frequency, and still back in 1965 that would run 6-volt DC, 12-volt DC, or 115-volt AC. Probably still a lot of the 6-volt DC automobiles around. I will, let's see, what will I do? I'll probably jump over to the S-meter at one of your transmissions so you can see what's going on with that. But it does okay. Again, with the carbon microphone, not super loud. There aren't a lot of high tones to it, but I'm hearing you just fine. Over.
I like to watch the swing on the meters. It does take a good swing on the thing, so they're doing the job. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate if you run a frequency check on it if you have a chance.
Yeah, I'll do that. I was just logging you in here. What I'm going to do is switch over to the S-meter, which is right there. Sounds like it's a control carrier. I'm just listening, so if you're looking at a watt meter, I bet you're keying up at 1 or 2 watts, and like you said, putting some forward drive. All right, I am positioning myself so that I can get over to the frequency checker and go ahead and take a transmission. We'll find out where the MC7 is on the dial here.
Okay. And on up, listen to the 9s and the rest on up. But I kind of like the old stuff like this. They're just speedo radio. Thanks, Dennis. Hope I got enough time.
Yeah, I'm looking at the meter. You've got 10 dB of forward movement on the audio. And when we punched in, find you on sideband 2708575, so 85.7.5, so about 700 cycles high. You're right on the cusp of the FCC approved off-frequency mode. Not too bad. A little high on frequency, but it doesn't. I'm on a wideband receiver, so it doesn't check things. It doesn't matter about checking that in. So thanks. Got you as Radio 2, the General Radio Telephone Super MC7 Also, hello, 103. I don't know when you were in. I didn't hear you when I did the roll call, and I know you have or are installing or trying to install a new mobile radio. We'll be out here, so Jeff, if you're watching or listening, and you can, go ahead and head out to the mobile at some time and jump in between the calls here, see if we can pick you up. I was thinking I should be able to hear you with the new radio, but it depends on, of course, what type of antenna you're running and if you're under a carport or not. But I've got you checked in. But if you want to do a radio check or something, that's super fine, and we'll try and get that before we sign out here at 10 o'clock tonight. The Old Tube Radio Network, we're looking for radio number 3. I don't have a production quota, but it seems like General Radio Telephone was putting out a updated model just about every year between the 5 and the 6 and the 7. I guess the 5 was 1962, 63, 67, 67, and the 7 at 65, and the 8, 9. I don't think there was a 10, 11. But pretty looking radio. Not, like I said, it might be a little plain compared to the Super MC11A, but sounding good. The Old Tube Radio Network is here. We are in Central California. The band is quiet locally, and I don't hear much DX going on, but you never know when things might open up. We are standing by for your radio check-ins. Trying to find out what the temperature is in here at 81. It's feeling very warm in here tonight.
Well, I hope it's warmed up enough. You can hear me. 45.
I can hear you over. Let's give it a try for Radio 3. Paul, I'm glad you're out there tonight. You're pretty much our featured, it's like the solo artist. It's like we came to hear the Beatles tonight, and Ringo showed up. But that's okay. You know, Paul, it's the solo show. We'll take anything and anyone. We appreciate your extra efforts, and your radio will talk us into the 9 o'clock hour here on the West Coast. Jingle Singers will follow you. But what do you have for Radio 3 over?
Okay, I went to General Radio Telephone. I went backwards. This is MC6.
The Master Control 6. Bring that one up. And if I am lucky, I might have a production date for that. Let me switch it while I'm talking here to get the cruddy audio out of the way. Oh, great. This is one of your pictures. One of the nice ones you did outside. And we'll switch over to that, and we'll take a transmission from General Radio Master Control number 6 over.
Yeah, okay. My radio, okay. It got wet. Somehow or other. Right now. Look out on this, the radio. Anyway, this has the sort of creating in the system. To get rid of that drone control, we had to get rid of that for the data take it out. It's making a lot of noise, but I can understand it. It's irritating on the wrong hand. Anyway, this thing has the same thing. You can stop the microphone, take it to the top, on the system. Generally from the PSM, probably the microphone. And that's about it. Plus, it's something about the 65, but they're thinking that main drone control back to this.
Has the similar sound of the MC7. The issue is, though, you're about 25% modulated. There isn't a lot of high, again, like the MC7, there isn't a lot of high frequency in the audio, and because the audio is low, it's causing some issues. So I don't know if you can actually get close to the microphone, because it's hard to copy you due to the low audio. But I do see that the meter is moving forward, so there is audio there. I'm just looking to see. They didn't give you a blinky light, and you've got a meter there, but I don't know. Give it a try, but see if you can put some more smoke into the audio. Over.
Okay. I don't know whether it's picking up or not, but it acts like it is on the meter here. So I've left that body, this mic right now, it's pushed in by the whisper. It dropped in. There's back again. What's the Kentucky thing? Back to you.
Oh, yeah, a lot better. That's a lot better. The carbon granules might be getting packed up in the microphonium there, so it's not letting you get the amount of gain you need into the radio. But the quality sounds good. Now it sounds more like the MC7. And you answered a question by checking in the 6. My question was the 7 the first 23 channel, and both transmit and receive, and it was. As you can see the difference, there was the tuning dial there, but as you said, the other one was the click stop radio. This one has the tunable 23 channel receive, and the was it 6 channel, 4 channels with continuously tunable receiver. 199.95 in 1964. So the MC5 in 1963, the MC6, which we're listening to now, in 1964, which sold for 199.95, and then in 1965, when they were still selling these, and that's when the MC7 came out, these were 159.50. I'm surprised they didn't sell a lot of these. 8 tubes, 4 crystal-controlled channels for transmit. It says 7 crystal. I don't understand why it says 7 crystal, but 4 channels. And it does have an external socket. The last, let's see, 1/13/2019. So January of this year, one of those sold on eBay, untested for parts, for just over $100. So they're almost still commanding the same price. The 6BQ5 and the output modulator, and we will do what we did last time on this transmission. Let me cozy up to the receiver here, and I'll give you a frequency check on the MC6. Over.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good. And then the 12, of course, is the final. Beautiful video. That's better. Did I give enough time, I hope?
Yeah, perfect. 27.0849. So about 200 cycles long. Not bad at all. Closer than the MC7. Because the audio is low when I switch over to sideband. It's hard to copy because you're not filling the modulation envelope like the other one does. But pretty radio. Really like your picture of that one outside. And it's doing a good job. It's our Radio 3, the MC6, and that has 8 tubes. What was that other 8 tube? I think the Helicrafters had 7 tubes. Don't need a lot of stuff to sound good on the radio. Thanks for bringing by the MC6. Give us another transmission before you go. But it's a general radio telephone kind of evening so far.
I'll tell you that for sure when they come up with these other radios. It's too bad they couldn't get FCC thing, but that's what, man, those days where everything was changing. Boy, I'll tell you what, that was quite a deal, as you know for sure. Thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
Thanks for bringing it by. The audio definitely sounds better. It's getting better as you go. Maybe it just needed to be used on the air. I've got the S meter in just in time, so if you're watching the video, you can see that I think you're just about 3 dB, 6 dB less on this one, on the 6 than on the 7. And the audio is there, but not quite as much, but still sounds good. This one has a good tone to it. I think, what did I say? Oh yeah, the jingle singers are at the top of the hour, or 6 minutes past the top of the hour, will tell us the friendly place to be on a Saturday evening. The Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And we are listening for Radio 4. I think Jeff 103 is going to go out to the mobile at some point and maybe try again. See how things are working on he's got a DX959, the Galaxy, so if the antenna is matched properly, I think I should be able to hear him. I'm not sure. I think he's out in Clovis somewhere. OTR standing by. And hello, Rob. Thanks for at least trying to pick us up over the airwaves. Definitely no conditions at this point tonight. This is the feel. This is the evenings that you'd think we would getting some of that E-skip ducting, but nothing so far. And going off the grid. That sounds like. I guess I'll say it sounds like fun. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I need to get this station set up so that we could go off the grid when they have the big power failure, and that way you won't see just nothing. We can still do the Old Tube Radio Network here. We're standing by for Radio 4. I think I changed my white balance when I did that. Hello, radio. Hello, 25. Over.
Sorry for the delay, Dennis. Got a few things to take care of. 25. Got a radio here to check in if you're ready and willing.
I am ready here at 9 minutes after 9 o'clock, and there is always plenty to do. And I know you were out there out on the ranch, so there's even more plenty to do. But I appreciate you taking time. Or maybe you had to sneak away. But anyway, I appreciate you taking time to share an item of interest with us in the glow-in-the-dark mode. Go ahead, over.
Okay, Dennis. This is the ongoing project, the General Radio Telephone MC5. I guess it's on the air, but I would love to replace the audio tube. In most radios, I believe it's 12AX7, but this one I think is different. and I'm sure Paul knows, or you may even know what that tube is, because it's a little goofy, I know. But anyway, the General Radio Telephone MC5 from downtown Burbank, California. Back to you.
Well, speaking of Paul, I've got a great picture. Oh, it says an MC6. Wait a minute. What happened to the MC5? Let me pop it in there. There we go. We're showing the MC6. And you are checking in the right radio. We prior episode here, we had an MC7. Paul just checked in his MC6. And now you're on the MC5. And I wasn't sure if Paul was going to get on his to keep the descending order going, but you've added the right one nonetheless. And the audio almost sounds like it's FMing. It's really restricted. It's very odd. So your thoughts on perhaps doing the simple thing, which would be checking the tube. This is a 7-tube radio. Believe it or not, the MC6 was an 8-tube radio. They added something. No, they're all 6-volt tubes. 6BQ5. I'm not sure what the audio tube would be in that. I think the 6BQ5 is probably the output, but that could be one to check. But they're all there's 7 of them. They're all 6-volt tubes. I don't know if you're running on AC power or DC power. That could be an issue too, I guess. But I'm hearing you, so we're communicating. So you might not have to do a thing. Over.
Okay, well, we'll probably leave it alone for now, but I've heard some other MC5s that sound better. I've actually gone back and listened to the archives, and we tried different microphones and different issues, but at least it is alive and on the air and doing its thing, like you say, Ben. So I thank you for doing what you do week after week, and thanks for the opportunity to check in.
You know, I didn't think about a microphone issue. If it's the carbon mic and the 6 and the 7 that Paul checked in were both carbon microphones, but they had just the opposite issue. They had no high frequencies and all low frequencies, and in the last radio you had to get very close. So you have the audio gain. Like you said, I think you said you might have checked different microphones. So definitely could be something amiss in the audio circuitry, like you said, changing the tubes. But it's transmitting well. The audio is there. It's just restricted. Before you go, and I did this with Paul, I'm going to switch over to this meter, but before you are on frequency, the MC7 was high, the MC6 was low. Let's see where the MC5 falls in. Back to you.
All righty, 1, 2. Right before below the S-meter, over.
Yes, it does. All right, I had the S-meter. I'm going to switch back to the radio. So here comes the audio glue. And, you know, you are about a KC&a high. I actually changed my receiver a little bit. It cleans the audio up a little bit, but it still has the issue. There's the front panel again. This is not like the MC7. This is not a 23-channel radio. But you do have the tunable receive and the external crystal socket. 27086 so about a 1,500, 1,600 cycles, a KC&a on the high side. That may contribute a little bit to the fuzziness, but it's definitely not a frequency thing. So your Radio 4 for us tonight fits in perfectly with our theme of it's the general radio telephones. Over.
Right, so anyway, that's close enough for AM. May not be right on, spot on, but it should be close enough. But anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis. And would you like a demonstration, by chance, of the secret call sign from Paul Tone? Single word switch. Over.
Yes, and we didn't talk about that on the MC6, where it was the first. That was the first issue that had a bullhorn. If you're watching the video, I'll bring my pointer. There's a switch right under the meter. There's a little pointer guy, and that says tone signal. That's what it says in the MC5. In the MC6, it says bullhorn, I believe, because the FCC made them get rid of the tone signal. This will be a good way. You know what? This might be a good way to see how the audio is. Think of if the tone signal is distorted, then we might suspect that your audio circuitry, the tubes, are not well. If the tone signal is not distorted, then maybe it's some other issue. And I'm not sure. Harvey might know if that tone actually runs, it's modulated. It's a tone that's modulated through the audio input like the microphone. So, all right, good deal. Go ahead with your super secret switch. Over. Wow, it's there. It's hard to tell if it has the same distortion. It's definitely loud. So I'm not sure, and that's a different frequency. Maybe it has something to do with the voice. It's working. It is working. The MC5 from General Radio Telephone, beautiful downtown Burbank. And the heck with the FCC. Run that all you want.
Yeah, I guess they eliminated this particular item because of jamming. So I don't know. I've never done that before, but it would be a good tool to have if I ever wanted to jam or something different. Anyway, Dennis, thanks for checking it in, and thank you.
And we'll know it's you. What I've noticed on the MC5s that come in, all of the tone signals are a little bit different. They have their own footprint. It's sort of like the Eagle ping. So if you were to be out there and just do the tone signal, and I was paying attention, I would probably know it was actually you on that radio. Because all of them are a little bit different. It's probably some adjustments for that to make the oscillation, the warble a little bit faster, a little bit slower. But it is your signature, your footprint on the MC5. Thanks for bringing it by. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark. Is it Jingle Singer time? I think so. Let's head over to Studio B as they stumble up to the ribbon microphone. That is some good stuff over there that they've got tonight.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
$37. Hello, Chris. Maybe your radio, one of your radios heard all its cousins checking in. So for tonight, the General Radio Telephone MC7, MC6, and MC5 have graced the airwaves of the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, radio.
Yeah, well, I figured I'd let the senior radios check in first before the younger radio checks in.
Is that age before beauty? Something like that.
Yes. That is what it is. Age before beauty. But anyway, I would like to check in this radio here, my General Radio Telephone, the Super MC11A. This is the 24-channel one, but mine's got one thing different than theirs has. I've got the little old man in the wheelchair on mine, and we're running this show with the stock mic.
Have all the radios tonight, I think, running the supplied stock microphones, carbon elements on most of them, I believe. Radio 5, and there's a picture here at oldtuberadio.net. We're watching the video. And so we go from, and I don't have a date for this. We go from 1963, 1964, 1965, up to the Super MC11A, which was not the last, but almost the last of their production line. I'm going to say we're at 1971 or 72. Super Deluxe, all 23 channels, 24 channels, the S meter. And this is a 9-tube radio. So the 5's a 6, the 5 is a 7, and then 8 tubes, I think, for the 6 and the 7, and then up to 9. And this does use a 12AX7 in the audio, where the MC5 is all 6-volt tubes, and then they switched out the output to the ECLL 800, which is helping with the audio for sure. Back to you for a transmission, and then we'll talk about, because I've got the picture, we'll talk about the old man in the wheelchair here.
Oh, yeah, he's sitting there, old man in the wheelchair with his IV sitting there, hanging there next to him, but yeah. Yeah, you know, what happened to see those other general radio telephones, they were younger, you know, or older, you know, started off, you know, he started building them up a little bit, but then he came to the MC11A, he wanted to improve it, you know. Never mind, they all sound good.
They do all sound good. Let me get the little pointer to the old man in the wheelchair. That's the G, R, and the T. I don't know if the T is some type of electric signal, electronic pointer there. And this is not, if you have a Super MC11, you will not see that moniker, the logo, the GRT. But where it got that name, who used to call themselves the old man in the wheelchair? Somebody's skip shooting handle was old man in the wheelchair. I think it was Jim. And we started checking these radios, and someone did notice that, you know, the difference between the 11 and the 11A is that one has that thing. We didn't know it was a GRT logo at the time, way back when. And so we were trying to figure out, what is that squiggle? You know what? You know how Prince, he changed his name to that symbol? Well, this is the GRT symbol. But we all thought it looked like one of those disabled people placards for a wheelchair or something. But we know better now.
Well, you know, right at the top of the T, I don't know if you're still looking at that. Look right at the top of the T. I don't know if you got an enlarged picture and what I do. It looks almost like a hat there. Or else it's like a beacon light. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Well, whatever it is, it's good. And we are not poking fun at old men or wheelchairs or anything here on the Old Tube Radio Network. We are just having a good time and enjoying the fact that these radios, as old as they are, regardless of whether they're run by an old man or not, are still sounding good here on our broadcast tonight. Radio number 5, your general radio telephone, Super MC11A, 9 tubes, 2 transistors. I managed to stick a couple of transistors in there and doing a good job. Over.
Well, I just figured out what that is. That's his hat sitting up on top of that.
I'm not sure. Maybe that's the battery. Maybe it's a motorized wheelchair.
Well, it's the shape of a hat. It definitely is the shape of a hat. So I'm just going to call it his hat. That, you know, since he ain't got it on top of his head, he's got it sitting up there, and he's probably reaching for it.
Wanting to check out that ECLL 800. Let me switch. Hello. Let me switch back to the control room. And, say Captain Keyboard. I'm on what I'm keyed up here. Is listening in from Nevada. Says, all the radios are sounding good tonight. And I agree. If it's glowing in the dark and it's checking into the Old Tube Radio Network and I can hear it through the headphoniums, it is definitely sounding good. So thanks there, Captain Keyboard, for listening in and agreeing with all the SWLs that this is the Saturday night place to be. Thanks, Chris.
Hi, Dennis. I'm watching a movie here, so that's why I was late coming in here. I'm still watching it, but I wanted to at least get in here and check this in. I heard all the generals, so we had to make you said I was number 4 or number 5?
You are radio number 5 and radio number 4 in the general radio telephones.
Well, maybe we're going to win tonight.
Whatever you might win. I would say, as net control, I would say you always win by checking in any radio. But if you are a fan of the general radio telephones, you are definitely winning.
All right, well, guy in Nevada, hey, you listen next week. I'll try to check in all of them tomorrow, next Saturday. So you hang in there and reply to Dennis. He'll let me know if you're going to be there. So we will get all of our other radios checked in. But tonight is movie night. Like, I have to take one out once a month, once in a while. So you gentlemen have a good evening. I'm listening.
All right, thanks for jumping in during intermission. Grab the popcorn, and we will see you next week on the Old Tube Radio Network, where we are listening for radio number 6.
Yeah, Dennis, I want to make sure I've got this too loud so I can hear anyway.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Orange Furniture Sizzling Sausage is over.
Good enough for me.
And it's amazing how much difference there is on AM between those two radios. This one sounds good, but boy, does that general radio telephone smoke.
That's my baby. All right, Dad, we'll talk to you a bit.
All right, 73. Listening in, seeing if we can hear any type of E-skip conditions in our final half hour of the net tonight. Will the band open? You just never know. Still 81 degrees in the Radio Shack. I think I feel a breeze. There should be some cool air wafting through the vents. There should be. Hello, radio. Hello, Jerry. Over.
Yeah, okay, well, we can't let all these general radio telephones go by checking in without at least checking in a Brownie. So if that's okay with you, I would like to check in as a Brownie. Over.
It is okay with me. Rob and Jim are not out on the frequency, but back in the day, there was always some lively discussions when it came to the generals and the Brownings as to which one was the parts radio when they checked in. So that it's not a runaway for the general radio telephones, we now have a set of Brownings with your check-in here at radio number 6. Tell us what you've brung, and I will dial it up here on the video.
Okay, Dennis, it's Brownie Golden Eagle Mark III sidebander. 2-piece radio with a spot and on the air light, 23-channel radio, crystal controlled, of course, with the VFO. Cool radio, good. It's a little cherry radio. Got the Golden Eagle on the speaker, and by the way, talking on a non-powered banana mic. And with the stand, and boy, anything else you need to know? I know you know this radio very well, so anyway, back to you.
I did have the pleasure of sitting in the air chair over there in front of that radio, and I think there were some others as well, but we did the net using that radio. This is the first radio that checked in tonight was the version of that with the AM transmitter. The picture we're showing has the two units, one sitting on top of the other, and they are both the same size. And the AM version, the transmitter is smaller. So this is the big kahuna. It was also $200 more. Is up close to $650 or $700. So back in the day when you could probably buy a used Pinto or maybe a Ford Falcon, or you could decide to buy yourself a brand new one of these, the Brownie Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. I like the way you've got it dialed in with the audio and the microphone. It really is hard to make those sound bad. You have to try. I think Browning really went to great lengths to make sure that whatever you were doing, their product was going to sound good, and it definitely does. Over.
Yeah, actually, probably more than you would pay for a used Buick Opal. I'm not even sure if they're around anymore. Anyway, Vinny and I used to have a conversation about that. But anyway, Brown and Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, and there is a switch on the back where you can actually turn off the little thing, but that's characteristic of the Brownie, so I just leave it on. So I think we shut it off. We turned it off when you ran the net on it. So anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis, and good hearing you. You sound good.
Sounding good in the neighborhood. I'm just looking at the Orban loudness meter, and I see that I don't know what's going on here. I see the balance control's a little bit off, so let me adjust that. And I noticed the balance is off on the receive, but I don't think we're not in stereo, so that shouldn't affect the SWLs. Thanks for bringing by the Browning Golden Eagle. Sounds good. I remember when SWL 8 Everett, I don't know which one he had, but he had to wrap himself in a heavy-duty curtain or hide under a blanket because it was so loud, and he was in a room that had such reverberation that sometimes it was hard to understand him because his voice was just bouncing off the walls. Yours does not have that problem at all. Radio number 6. Sounding good. Captain Keyboard mentioning, I was checking the temperature here, which is 81 is nice for the radio room with all the tubes going on here, and he says, don't you have a little fan to keep you cool down? Well, this is the Old Tube Radio Network. There's a lot of little fans out there, right? The fan club for OTR, what you really mean is one of those oscillating fans, and yes, I do, or I did. There's one behind the rack. There used to be one outside the door of the studio here, but last year, at the end of the summer, I finally got the cooling system in this abode properly fixed and operating, and now because it is working so well, I have no fans whatsoever, and it works. It's just great, and the good thing about that it has eliminated a lot of the noise that used to be coming in on my audio. There's still noise because there's other things that make noise in this acoustically bad room for radio, but the fans isn't one of them. So I'm no longer needing to run the fans. The equipment stays pretty cool. If there was a problem, I'd probably run a fan behind the audio rack, but I don't need anything on me anymore. At least we'll see. When we have one of those 111 days, I bet it will get up. But last year and years prior, when I didn't have the cooling system running properly, it would be 92. I mean, if I was lucky, I could get it down to 92 or 88 in here. And that's really, it's okay for the operator. I can stand it, but the equipment sometimes doesn't like that. The solid state really doesn't like that. Tube radios like it hot. Tube radios don't care for the most part. But transistorized stuff has a problem when the heat starts getting way up there. Let me take a pause. We'll go over to the other studio for the Jingle Singers, and then we will come back with your radio check-ins, and we'll be looking for Radio 7. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic
Old Tube Radio.
for you.
I think my antenna tuner is not quite in the proper position. But as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so I'll leave it alone. The other thing that's not in the right position is this chair. I was doing some studio audio production this week, and I think everything got moved around. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, where we are awaiting Radio 7. I'm not sure why the big balance mismatch on the receive audio. Probably going to have to reseat some RCA cables. Just scrolling through an S9 magazine from 1965, and it seems like the big deal. Maybe I can put this on. It seemed like the big radios that were just starting to be advertised. There's one of them, all solid-state two-way radio with silicon transistors from RCA. And then there's a Heathkit ad and another all-transistor 23-channel 5-watt transceiver. So this is 1965. So the solid state's just starting to make itself known, but right in the middle of some of the greatest and the loudest tube radios. And we've been hearing those tonight, looking for Radio 7. And still didn't hear from Jeff, 103. He's going to be maybe checking out the Galaxy Mobile tonight. I am listening. There's an ad out of the S9 magazine 1965 for PR crystals are precision matched for hundreds of transceiver models. PR now furnishes precision matched crystals already coated for use in more than 400 of today's makes and models of CB equipment. By precision matching, we mean that the crystals not only match the circuit, but they have been tested in the actual operation of each model. Z13 and the Z9R. I think I had some of those Z13s in my helicopter CB11A walkie-talkie. And they are from Peterson Radio, West Broadway, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Council Bluffs. Who was the famous radio in Council Bluffs? It wasn't Collins, was it? Was Collins out of Council Bluffs? Somebody was. The Old Tube Radio Network looking for Radio 7. Remember the days of hiding from the FCC? Here's the Washington Outlook, 1965. Judging from the amount of FCC activity in the following report as compared with the previous months, it looks like the FCC has relented somewhat in their CB policing. Anyway, here's what happened. License revoked. Chicago, Illinois, for failing to respond to official communications. That's the worst thing you can do. FCC calls you, you want to answer their letters. Billy McIntyre, North Carolina, failing to respond to official communications. Kalamazoo, Michigan, failing to respond to official communications. Failing to respond. Somebody in Mesa, California, failure to respond. So, who gets a letter from the FCC these days? Not anybody. They don't really care about CB unless you're really, really bad. What you have to do is be interfering with emergency communications or messing up broadcast communications, messing up somebody that either is working emergency services or is making a living doing their broadcast stuff. But be sure to respond to the FCC. OTR standing by. All right, I'll put this one out there because it's a general radio telephone kind of evening. Here's a 1965, right? The end of 1965. And they're advertising the Super MC8. Wow, so they wasted no time on getting these radios out. And it's still they put the price in there, $199.50. Complete with microphone, 110-volt AC cord, receive crystal for channel 11. Well, who would have thunk? Oops, that is why, and I just lost it. That is why we hang out here on channel 11, because a lot of the radios came with channel 11. The General Radio Telephone Company, 3501 West Burbank Boulevard. Next time I'm down in Southern California, I'll have to go by 3501 West Burbank Boulevard and take a picture. What's their area code? 213-849-6891. Looking for radio number 7, the Old Tube Radio Network. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
And thank you, John. I should know that Cedar Rapids is where Collins, Art Collins? Is that who it was? I should know. I just joined the CCA, the Collins Collectors Association. I got the really nifty color magazine in Cedar Rapids. I should know that. But there was somebody in Council Bluffs, I bet. Thank you for updating that. Realized back when we had the OTR picnic, this is 87 or 88, somebody brought a Collins to the park. We used to do this at the big park here in town. I think it was the 32V series. And we hooked that up, and it was during big time skip, the big sunspot cycles, and we made some DX contacts. And I actually had gotten my license a few years before, and we tuned it up on 10 meters on a big stick, and made some 10-meter AM contacts as well. Really fun on the Collins, like a 32V3 something. It was a transmitter receiver combination. And those were, I want to say those are early 50s, before the S lines and the KW whatevers. Still looking for Radio 7 here on the Old Tube Radio Network. And promoting Iowa tonight. I don't know. Did they have an official song? I should have that going in the background, but it'd probably be copyrighted if I could find one. Oh, hail Iowa. Something. I'm sure they got an official song. Alphabetized list of cities, radios made in Iowa from the mid-1920s to mid-1960s. So that could include everything from broadcast radios to whatever. Crossley. All right, I know that one. Collins Radio, of course, National Radio, Universal Talking Machine, Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids was big, a lot of Cedar Rapids. Dunn Manufacturing, Audio Services, Morse Registered Company, World Radio Laboratories, there it is, that's the one, thank you. WRL, The Globe. That was Leo Meyerson, I think, Council Bluffs. Boy, if you want radio history, go to Iowa. Thanks for this. This is great stuff. The Eckstein Radio and Television Company in Decorah. Midland in Decorah. Tri-City Radio Supply, Decorah, Des Moines. Brunswick Radio Corporation in Dubuque. Belmont Radio in Emory. There's a lot of them. Farmlight in Knoxville. Sioux City, Standard Radio Equipment, Qualitone, Hatfield, the Federal Radio, Shenandoah, the Henry Field Seed and Nursery Company. Everybody got into the radio stuff. And the Lincoln, L-I-N-C-O-N, Lincoln, in Waterloo, Bluebird, Standard. Good stuff. Thanks for that. Thanks for putting us on the map. We always talk about beautiful downtown Burbank, but what about Cedar Rapids and Council Bluffs? The Old Tube Radio Network looking for radio number 7. And John knows it's his stuff when it comes to Iowa. We got the best SWLs. They know their stuff. Are the jingle singers ready? I am looking. We got 7 minutes or so. We're looking for Radio 7. Plenty of time to get your SWL checked in. Curious about Cheesy Easy Jeff, if he got the Galaxy running. I should be able to hear him, I think. He's checked in before, but, when you hook up something new in the mobile, there is the matching and grounding that has to be done. You get a nice radio, and then it doesn't get out, and you realize that the antenna is the antenna is a big thing, whether you're mobile or not. All right, here's an Iowa radio from World WRL, the Globe Star, from Rob's collection, SWL3. Made in Council Bluffs, Iowa, from, I think it was Leo Meyerson. Talked to a lot of the big AM guys on 75 meters running the Globe King, the Globe 500s. This was their 11-meter, 5-watt versions of the big iron radios. And we do not have, now that Rob doesn't check in a lot, he had a very, very large collection of Globe WRL radios, and we would always get at least one or two each week. So if you're secreting a WRL radio, I'd like to hear from you. Our stations in Iowa are rooting you on. Bring them out if you got them. Bring out that Collins KW1 and put it on the 11-meter. Put the 11-meter switch. So what if it's not Class D? The Old Tube Radio Network is standing by, getting ready for counting and amounting and listening.
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
That sounded pretty modern to me, over.
Number, whatever I am, 20. Okay, R68T68 by Brownie Laboratories. I didn't want to, I can't check in anymore, I'm tired. It's the month end and I'm working, so. Anyway, I should be here possibly, oh wait, next week? Hang on here. Next week, yeah, I think so. Anyway, the R68T68 by Brownie Laboratories, the custom D104, with the Browning medallion on the back of the microphone. Okay, I will probably catch you next week, I think. See, check my schedule here. Oh yeah, catch you next week. Alrighty, take care, Dennis. We'll see ya.
Let's hear a really extravagant thing, please.
You have a request. That's pretty good, as extravagant as it might get. The R68T68. Well, glad to have him in the shack. Hasn't the retirement committee come and talked to you and said, it's time to sit back and relax?
Yeah, just about there. I'm getting close, but not quite yet.
Yeah, just like a lot of us, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one I can't, well, I can do a little bit with the pinger. I should bring out a couple others that do more pinging. But, anyway, hi there, Mike. Anyway, I gotta get back in, get sleep, gotta get up in the morning, go back to work. Make more money, buy more radios.
Yeah, e-pay isn't cheap these days. Or just at least get the parts you need to fix the ones you've got. Thanks for Radio 7. We were fishing for that for quite some time, and we made it here before the 10 o'clock hour with your Browning Golden Eagle R68, T68, and I think you said that's a Series 2, right?
There's a good one for Mike. Yeah, this is the Series 2 with the on-air light and the 3-position RF gain switch. The Series 1's in the garage in a cabinet. The one with the spot light on the transmitter and the RF gain control on the receiver. I assume that's the other series, but there you go. You can mix and match.
they work either way.
Okay, the mix and match frequencies, and I think people are actually realizing that the sun has went down and the barbecue isn't even good enough to roast marshmallows anywhere more, and we'll get a few more check-ins before we sign out. Thanks for Radio 7. Before we do it, I think I may have another radio check-in, but before we do that, let me go over to the SWL list and say hello to SWL40, over.
Yes, this is SWL40, needing a check-in. Better late than never.
Indeed. Well, thanks for being there, and I guess the rumor was not true about the mouse chew coax keeping you off the air.
Well, I just bought another jar of peanut butter, so as long as I don't run out of peanut butter, everything will be okay.
Did you also get a trap to go with that peanut butter?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, you may have a lot of friends. All right, thanks for checking in, and I think we may have a radio, and I want to get it before we officially sign out here at the Old Tube Radio Network. Was there another possible glow-in-the-dark check-in, over?
Yeah, I think that would be me from the Radio Lounge, SWL 47, for a SWL check-in, and I guess also a check-in for a Robin T123.
Good deal. I think I can bring up a picture of that, and I should know by the good audio that's a Robin, but I can never discern which one, if it's the magic eye or the non-magic eye until you tell me.
I was going to ask you if you're being serious, but you can't be serious. And I don't mean to be insulting. I would imagine, and I've never heard these things back to back, there has to be a massive difference in the audio quality. One with an amplified mic and one without, and two completely different chassis. There's got to be a difference in the way they sound.
Well, yeah, this one here has the non-amplified mic.
Okay, no. This one has the amplified D104, and you're making me lean up in the air chair here. We'll do it back to back. Thanks to the on-air feature of the other radio. No, this the Robin T123. I've already said Match Guy 2. God, even after all these years, the Match Guy does not get old. I highly prescribe that everyone get one. But that's what the audio sounds like, and it's great radio to use if it's late at night, 10:05, and you don't really want to scream into the radio. And then, if you'll give me a brief moment, we'll do it back to back.
All right, I will get the picture ready. You're looking at the T123 that he was just transmitting on, and then the next radio,
which would be the T123 Bravo. Which, you gotta sit up straight in the chair, and you have to scream almost in order to get the modulation lamp to work on this one, the T123 Bravo.
Yeah, there is a difference when you do it back to back like that. The tone quality is there. It's just one of them. It sounds like you're right up there, right in my headphoniums, and the other one, it sounds like you step back and you put the dish towel over your head. No, it sounds good. It just doesn't have the punch that the other radio does, of course.
Yeah, well, this one is the 123 Bravo. It's still fun to use. I think I've mentioned occasionally that on the 123, the gauge or the F meter is white with black lettering on it, and the S meter on this thing, the 123 Bravo, is black with white lettering on it. This one, it's a little more challenging to read from farther away. I think it's easier for me to read the other one, but the modulation lamp, it works great, I suppose. If you want to see it illuminated, you got to speak loudly so that everyone at least 2 rooms over from the radio lounge can hear what you're saying.
You get the megaphone, you cup your hands and do it that way. It's okay. I suppose for someone who's not radio listening in, think of power steering and not power steering. The wheel turns, you get there, but there's just so much more effort, right?
Yeah, there is a lot more effort. And SWL20, I don't know if you're still listening online. We had a great conversation last Saturday night after the show. I think number 1 in my list of priorities, the content is not happy right now, and I'm going to kind of open that thing up and see what's going on with it. But I've got to get an amplified microphone for this thing. I'd be very curious. Well, I'm going to ask you, OTR, has anyone checked in a 123 Bravo with an amplified mic, and is there that much of a difference in audio?
Oh, good question. Well, the 123B is the Panasonic chassis, which usually sounds very loud depending on which model. That's a 72 to 76. So there's a lot of radios that share this chassis. So I'm going to say it's the right microphone with the internal adjustment. So you had a D104, give you a little bit of high frequency punch, and then you would adjust your internal radio. So you would either need or not need the range expand or more range expand. If you have an amplified microphone, see, that's the thing. Your radio's got the amplifier built in. But how you adjust it is sort of dependent on the microphone that you want to use that sounds the best. So, putting the amplified microphone on sometimes eliminates the need to use the range boost. So the range boost is there. I'm going to say you probably just need the proper microphone, and then whatever, there's got to be an adjustment on the range boost and make it so that when it's off, it sounds okay. And then if you want to get loud for some reason, you would just hit the range boost and then you're still okay without having to amplify the microphone. But that is a tried and true Panasonic chassis, so it's going to be fixable for sure, but there's no problem with it really.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's not. It's just my distaste for having to really get into the microphone and speak up loudly. Both of those are against my personality. So that's something to work on, and maybe SWL20 is listening and taking notes on that. So I hope he's doing well, as I hope everyone else is doing. Everyone sounds great. And what better way to spend a Saturday evening than playing with these magnificent old hot vacuum tube radios? Thanks for giving us a reason to take them out.
Foot switches moving away again. Thanks for bringing them by. My guess is that radio, and again, I'm assuming there's an adjustment on the range boost circuitry on the inside, was adjusted for someone who had an amplified microphone that was really cranked up. So in theory, the microphone you have is fine. The adjustment needs to be made on the circuitry for the range boost to give it a little bit more gain in the off position so that for your voice and how you talk, it would be acceptable to get 80% modulation or so. And then when you kick it on, it will give you a little bit more, but you might not. Then it was one of those things. Well, you really don't need it, but if you don't feel like talking too loud and you turn it on. So my guess is the issue is how the range boost is set up, and it was probably set up originally for somebody with an amplified microphone. Thanks for radio number 9, the one we just heard, the Robin T123. Prior to that, the Robin T123. I want to take care of a few housekeeping items here. John, out of Iowa, the mighty JW, mentioning the 6-meter expedition today and tomorrow in Grid Square Charlie Mike 93, Santa Rosa Island, a rare grid. It's way over here, and I can't see it. I've got my Grid Square CM. Wait a minute, did you say CM 93? And I'm looking. I don't see where CM 93 would be. The CM is on our side here on the Pacific. 30, 90. Oh, wait a minute. Santa Rosa Island. Are you sure? CM 93. If I look at that correctly, CM 93 is off of Santa Barbara. See, I bet that's too close for here. Sorry about stretching out and keying up here, but it got my curiosity, and I just realized I have the 6-meter chart over on the workbench. Santa Rosa Island. Well, that's off the coast of California. Is that correct? Listen for KD7WJP. Be interesting. I just don't think for a 6-meter hop that would work here. I don't know. Sorry, John, I'm showing my ignorance here on 6-meter stuff since I don't do a lot of it. But when I look at Charlie Mike 93, and I'm assuming I'm seeing that right because it's way over across the thing, and I've got my wacko glasses, that it's out off the coast of California on a rare grid square. Probably because there's nothing there, unless you're in a boat or you're on Santa Rosa Island, which is probably not inhabitable except for penguins and the expeditions. Also, I know I'm taking a long transmission here. Hello to X4000 checking in. And let me unkey and see if there's any other items of interest we need to do before we sign out. And this is the one thing we always do when we sign out.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Is that 1958 modern, 1965 modern, 1975 modern? Who knows? It's the Old Tube Radio Network. Signing out here tonight, saying thanks for stopping by and saying hello and checking in a radio. We had 9 radios check in tonight. The most heard manufacturer, it was a close race at the end. I thought maybe the Brownings were going to tie, maybe the Robins were going to tie, but General Radio Telephones with 4, Brownings with 3, and Robins with 2. We'll get to the individual details. We had 10 check-ins on page 1 for SWLs, 10 on page 2, 15 on page 3, and 12 on page 4 for a total of 47. First radio out of the gate tonight was a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III AM, the AM version. If you had $500, you could probably pick one of those up in 1971 or 72. Thanks, Paul, for that. Paul pretty much keeping our first hour up and running with his radio collection. The General Radio Telephone Super MC7 was radio number 2, and then Paul also brought by the General Radio Telephone MC6. Jerry jumped in at 9:12 with the General Telephone MC5. And then Chris jumped in with radio number 5 and the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. So, hooray for beautiful downtown Burbank. And next week we are looking for those Council Bluffs, those Iowa radios, the WRLs, or maybe you've got a Collins that will tune up to 11 meters. We'll see if we can get some Iowa radios checking in next week. Radio number 6 was the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB from Jerry. Radio 7 was the Browning Golden Eagle R68T 68 Series 2 from Harvey. And then we had a pair of Robins, the T123 and the T123B, Radio 7 and 8 respectively. Running out our show, if you want to call it that, for this evening. 4th of July is coming up, so wherever you are, stay safe. Don't pick up the wrong end of the sparkler. I guess, can you do that now? I'm old enough to remember the first ones that came out with the metal rods, and you could definitely pick up the wrong end of the sparkler, or if you were at the beach, you could step on the wrong end of the sparkler, but they are now safe and sane, or more safe and sane, and way more expensive. Way more expensive, and you can easily spend, what, $19 for some fountain of whatever that is more safe and sane. So whatever you do, have a good 4th of July, and we'll be back here next Saturday, I do believe, listening for and talking with your radios. Let's see. I want to just make sure there's no comments I need to do. Thanks, John, for your info tonight. Captain Keyboard, reiterating to have a safe 4th of July. Thanks to FrodexSearchLawrence.com for the Nixie tubes and keeping our digital side running. And thanks to all of you for keeping us on the air for a long, long time. The reason we do this is because, I don't know, because we're crazy? No, we have collections and it's fun and it's something to do. And we hope that if you're in an area where you can't participate because you're too far away, you do something similar. Get on the air night or a radio night or an old radio night or a new radio night, but get on the air and have some fun. And when the band conditions open up, which they will, maybe we'll hear more of you, whether it's on this band or some other ones. A lot of stations picking up their ham radio licenses, so should be a good time. Good night, everybody. I will talk to you later. I've got some things I got to do out of the Radio Shack, so I don't think I'm going to do any SWLing tonight. But it is, let me check. Did we drop a degree in the Radio Shack here tonight? If I don't break this set down, here we go. And it is 80, oh, it just changed to centigrade. Why did it do that? it was, I didn't tell it to do that. Maybe it doesn't like having a light shine on it. Anybody know what 21 degrees is? I think it's still 81 in here. Good night, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Dennis. Have a safe holiday.
Now that's a tone signal, if ever there was one. Yeah, why did that happen? Why did it go to center? Oh, no, and it's back. It's back. Maybe it does that. I just never noticed. I've had that thing sitting there forever. Now it's 80 degrees. 80 degrees in the Radio Shack here tonight. So when I start turning off things, it should be better. All right, I'm going to do it. I said I wasn't. I'm going to do it. I want to see. We're going to go 10 meters. And I want to see if I can hear the beacon that is in Tracy, which is 100 and so miles up the road, but they're about 3,000 feet. And that'll tell me if the ground wave conditions are happening. Let me get on the other antenna, or off the tuner. Here we go. Don't hear it. So the conditions are bad. When the ground wave is open, I can usually hear that beacon. And it is not there. So we don't have the ducting or whatever. So no beacon from Tracy at 28,300. If you're out of the area, listen for that one. If you're not in the West Coast, and I think I want to say it's K6FRC. K6FRC. All right, since we're here. Let's check out 75 meters on the... Nothing. Any AM signals? Okay, do I not have an antenna up? There's 3840. It's just a terrible night.
After he passed away?
It's a terrible night if you don't have a good antenna, actually.
I guess about 5 days ago.
3913. 3905. All right. No AM SIGs at all at 3870. Come on, guys. It's Saturday evening. All right. Back to 27085. And a little less noise. And I will say 73, everybody, the old Tube Radio Network.